Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing a book review of The Kiss Countdown by Ada Easton. This comes out today. Highly recommend that you read it, pick it up. If you had it pre-ordered, get started ASAP. It's so worth it. I had such a good time with this book. I had an e-arc from NetGalley and I'm so glad that I did because it was so worth it. One of my favorite reads of the year. In this, we are following Amory, who is an event planner, and Vincent, who is an astronaut. Amory is sort of in a stage of her life where she's trying to get her life back together, and Vincent is preparing for a really huge mission. The two of them end up striking a deal to pretend to date in order to save face for her ex and his family. It's supposed to be a one-time thing. They keep extending it for multiple reasons, and of course, they end up falling in love in the process. If you are someone who needs to know tropes, I would recommend this for people who enjoy fake dating, he falls first, only one bed, and slow burn. It is very much a slow burn, which I personally love. I really liked it. And our MMC is also a huge cinnamon roll, so all things that I really enjoyed. There are content warnings, however, for a really shitty ex who really put down one of our main characters for no valid reason other than their own selfishness and ego. One of our main characters had a sibling who passed away, and the other has a parent who is currently sick with sickle cell anemia. And then as far as just other representation, our FMC's best friend has vitiligo. I really enjoyed this and rated it 4.75 stars, which I really wasn't expecting because I honestly don't read traditionally published romance that much anymore. I laughed out loud. I was stressed out at times. It's such a feel-good story, and I highly recommend it if you're a romance reader and you want to learn some fun facts about space. So that is really all that I can say without spoilers. If you have not yet read The Kiss Countdown and are planning to, this is your official spoiler warning. So as per usual, we'll go ahead and get started with the characters. I like Amory, and one of the big draws that made me decide to request an arc for this is that she's an event planner. I've been an event planner for 11 years now, and so I was very excited about that. However, I feel like Amory's reason for not wanting to do weddings anymore was really just rooted in self-doubt and not like her ability as a planner, because all the things that happened for that wedding that didn't go well, it wasn't her fault. Like, if your parent is in the hospital and so you miss a wedding because of that, that doesn't make you a failure as a wedding planner. To me, it just wasn't a good enough reason to stop doing them altogether, I think. I get that as a planner, we do like to have control. However, it's just important to know, like, we literally cannot control everything. Otherwise, you end up in a situation like Amory. Vincent is perfect. I love him so much. New boyfriend, no notes. He's great. He's great. I wish that he had spoken his mind and revealed his feelings to her sooner. Although I feel like, again, Amory was too much in her head because she's like, oh, he's just saying that because, you know, we're pretending to date. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening at all. And it's very obvious and you're choosing to ignore it, but okay. Gina, who is Amory's best friend, I like her. I do feel like Amory kind of shut her out a little bit, which I didn't love, but at the same time, she was also dealing with her own shit, and I am glad that her story ends up being resolved in the end as well. As far as Vincent's family, I want to like them, and I do for the most part. I like his brother-in-law Lance, I like his younger sister Brianna, but when it comes to, and I like his dad is like very much a side character, but as far as his mom and his sister Camille, I feel like what irritated me about them is that when you have a family member who's doing something that you disapprove of, even though like they're really not doing anything bad, and you constantly throw that in their face to the point where they don't want to be around you anymore, so they stop coming around, and then you complain about them not being around, and then they do come around and you start berating them again. It's like, what do you expect? Like, something's got to give. Have a conversation about it and move the fuck on, or let it go. And I feel like his mom and his sister just refused to do that, and obviously that kept weighing on him, which led to all of the conflicts that the family was having in the first place. And I feel like that just could have easily been resolved with common sense and communication, but it's a romance novel, so of course there's gonna be some miscommunication, I guess. The story overall was very well written. One of my biggest complaints is that I felt like the pacing at the end of the book was really off. Like, I felt like we were kind of moving along, everything's fine, and then all of a sudden she's like dragging things out, and it's like the last 20%, and it's like, nobody has time for this, girl. Like, let's get to the point. You could have cut out maybe like 50 pages if you had left out all this fluff, you know what I mean? And I hate fluff, but again, thinking about the fact that it's traditionally published and that there's probably some parameters that she had to follow, fine. But aside from that, honestly, it was gonna be a 5-star. It was just that last little percentage and the way that things were being dragged out, how it's like a week later now and this still hasn't happened and this conversation still hasn't been had, and it's just like, with everything going on, there's no way that a week would have passed without this conversation happening. So this just feels really off to me. With that, I'll go into the things that I disliked or would have preferred change. First and foremost, it is single POV, and I feel like that is gonna be a big turnoff for a lot of people. And even though I think that having Vincent's POV would have been very beneficial for the story overall, I do still feel like we got a lot of what was going on in his head, because he says things out loud often that he probably doesn't mean to, or probably doesn't think about how it sounds. So even though we weren't in his head directly, I still feel like we knew what he was thinking. Amory's ex, Derek. You can expect to find this man on the next episode of Characters That I Want to Square Up With, because how do you have the audacity to tell someone that they're gonna grow old alone if they don't learn to put their mother, their sick mother, who has been in and out of the hospital damn near her entire life, and who she has come close to losing so many times. You really sat there and told that girl that she needed to learn how to put her partner above her mom. Tell me you have a fragile ass ego without actually telling me, because that's wild. Again, Amory's self-doubt, in particular when it came to her feelings about Vincent and Vincent's feelings for her, particularly pissed me off, because like, when somebody is kind of telling you how they feel and you're just not listening, why? I think it's the scene where they're in the car driving up to his parents' house in the mountains, and she says something like, oh, meeting your family, what if they don't like me? And he says, they'll fall for you as quickly as I did. And she's like, oh, he's just saying that because we're pretending to date. But it's like, in this moment, y'all are alone. No one's around for you to think that he's saying that for show. And then she would just like talk herself out of it. Do I still think that Vincent should have just came out with how he felt about her? Yes, but we gotta have some conflict. Otherwise, those are honestly just things that I personally just always have an issue with, no matter what. Like, y'all know that I hate tropes. It's kind of my thing to hate tropes at this point. I have so many episodes of tropes I hate. But other than that, I genuinely just loved it. It's just so good. It's just such a feel-good story. It's cute. Every time he says something like super nerdy or weird, it just makes you giggle and you're just having a good time. So again, 4.75 stars. I absolutely loved it. I do hope that y'all will read it, because it's so fucking good. But let me know if you have read The Kiss Countdown or it's on your TBR. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.